Good morning, everyone. I think we're on track here to. Got a technical issue here with the Zoom, so we can't go back here. That's as far back as it'll go, so the screen's not right. How do we get the screen smaller, Jing? Not the right screen. That's as low as it'll go. Okay, we just got a few issues. Keep going down. Keep going down. Keep going. That'll do. Okay, I'm gonna try and get back on track here. Hopefully it's happening. Yeah, we had a few issues this morning. What's this one, Jing Jing? And I'm hoping this is fast enough to. Okay, so it's actually a little bit too big now. Hopefully that's it there. Anyway, sorry about all these upsets. We've been chasing issues for about an hour now, and hopefully, James just checking to see if it's streaming. So, and I've got a green finger there now, just putting the weather up to show you what's going on. So we're a few hours late, and anyway, we're here. So getting very close for Goog and Simon to get around Cape Horn, and the guys back here were actually doing okay, but we had to put. I actually put Jeremy on a weather alert yesterday because there was this bit of a blow coming through, and we actually got him to head southeast straight away. So if we get his track up here, we just you can't quite see it. He's got a funny colour, has Jeremy, and we can't quite see. But anyway, we would have seen him straight down southeast to sort of get him down low and also stall a little bit so he didn't run into this bit of a blow here. And now being a bit further down, he's going to have less impact as that this new front comes across as well. Interesting, I sent him a message this morning, say proceed to Cape Horn, and he's actually now running back up north east when he could have actually carried on down here because we gave him permission to come into the zone, even though he's in Chichester class. It's just part of the process. So that's not too bad. Anyway, right now they should have rolled over to their 8 o'clock positions. Ian's doing 4.9 knots, managed 88 nautical miles in the last 24 hours. So that's not too bad. And Jeremy's been steering a bit all over the place. He's now doing 4 knots, did 72 nautical miles on his way to the Horn yesterday. So that's not too bad. This mouse and my green finger's not doing too well, but I'll see if I can toggle this through. You can see that front coming up behind Jeremy. It's not a big one. He's down south a bit, so that's okay. It's gone over the top, but he's now in a south-southwesterly wind, and Ian's right on the edge of continuing the breeze there, but it should be enough. Maybe he'll come down a little bit, and it's coming up to him, so that's not too bad. So this is 24 hours out now. Jeremy's got a great great westerly there to keep moving, so he'll be chuffing along. That's probably 28, gusting 35, maybe a little bit more. And Ian's back in the breeze, so that's one day out. We carry on for the next day. That westerly is building for Jeremy. It's not a big one. It's probably there. It's gusting, it's 30, gusting 40. He can manage all that, and Ian's got just enough breeze to carry on lightly and have a bit of fun. I forgot to mention it's day 173 today, and it's the 25th of February. So that's a quick status there. So both of those guys are pretty happy for the next couple of days, so that's okay. Now, if we come across here and blow up with, I should say I'm actually on Jane's computer here now, so even the colours look differently, and the mouse is a bit so. So they had a bit of a puff come through. No, that's not right. I wasn't expecting that. Here we go, back to now. Had a puff come through before, it's now settled down. They had a bit of strange wind late yesterday afternoon, but it was all pushing them in the right directions. Here's Cape Horn here, so their distance now this morning, distance from Cape Horn to Goog is around about 60 miles, and he's currently making 2.5 knots because there's not much breeze there, so it's a bit of a mixed bag to come up with an ETA, but I'll do that when we look at the weather in a minute going forward. And Simon's the same. He managed to do everything we suggested to him, so he's come across underneath those big winds yesterday. he's 80 miles from the Horn. So, and again, it's as we projected, it's a bit of a mixed bag for weather here right now. So we'll just toggle this forward if we can. There's about 3 hours, so Simon's got a light northerly there. Goog's going to have virtually no winds, some very light headwinds, so not really moving anywhere of substance. And then around about there, which is 9 night, they've both got breeze. So if there's 50 miles, he's going to maybe 24 hours from now. That's a nice breeze that's coming to follow through. So, yeah, that's 24 hours. So it's got about 12. So, yeah, I'd say probably sometime on Sunday morning French time. So, yeah, around about, sometime Sunday morning, even UTC. So he didn't make it on Saturday by the look of it. Anyway, we'll move both of them over to 1 hourly tracking in about 6 or 7 hours, 8 hours, and we can follow them around. And it looks like Goog's going to get there. They may end up very close because Simon's going to get a bit more breeze before Goog, so they could be very close when they go around. I think they're I'm not sure they're talking to each other because Simon's got some problems with his radio. Nonetheless, that first 24 hours, the next 24 hours is relatively easy, no storms. I'm just clicking it through now, going through for all of Sunday. So they've got a nice northwesterly, going northerly. Okay, so that's not too bad. Gives them a chance to come up. They're not on a lee shore. There's a big puff coming behind them by the look. But they'll be around then, and then possibly because of this headwind they've got here, they're not going to go up around the corner. They're probably going to blow out this way. So so probably we're not quite through onto the second day. If I take that through on the second day, the wind's coming from the southwest. They can't go up. So that's 2 days from now. So I think what we'll see is they'll be sitting about here in between these two northwesterly airflows. You've got the northwesterly up here and the one down the bottom. So they'll be sitting there and not getting too much breeze. It'll be quite a comfortable ride. And then they're going to get calmed. So 2 days out, and then they're going to get a big shift with this one. That'll rocket them along. So it's going to kick them around the bottom of the stretch over the mare. And let's see if any of them decide to go through there. It might give them a little bit of protection. There's quite a bit of breeze there. We'll put them on weather if we think it's right, but it dissipates very quickly. That just disappeared over 2 hours then. I'm just backtracking now. You can see it's quite intense there. Coming around, they won't be on that. They'll actually be further advanced towards. They'll be about there. So then literally 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, it's all disappearing. So when it finally catches up to them, it'll cut right back. And then if I'm just going to pan back a bit here. This is a very slow mouse, just to see what's likely to happen. Yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag, but quite favourable wind direction. So I think they'll be quite happy being around Cape Horn. And they've got reasonable weather. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing extreme there. Bit of a mixed bag. It's going to go light, and it's going to come down again from the north. So yeah, it'll be a mixed bag, but the sea will have died off. It looks like another one coming through. This is on the 28th. Yep, there's going to be a bit of a shift there. So they've had a reasonable approach to Cape Horn, but they're going to get some confusing storm on day 3 maybe. So anyway, not too bad. So we'll just now come back here to today's weather, and we'll see what's happening to Kirsten and Abilash. So as we mentioned, that the centre of that high next to Kirsten was going to dictate exactly what happened to her, and it hasn't been good. It's formed up into a bigger one. I'm just going to pan this back. I don't like this mouse. Anyway, remembering our friend here, the South Atlantic High, this one's forming up. There's a few little holes here have joined together and made one bigger system. It's not good for Kirsten because it's limiting her options. She's now on the trailing edge of this high. It's going to go that way. They always do. And so that may project headwinds for her. Abilash, on the other hand, has got this northwesterly flow because it's part of the giant system here. He's further away from the centre, and he's more or less on the southwestern corner of the high. So that gives him an advantage at the moment. So if I check out what Kirsten's doing, it's 0.8 knots because she's been sitting in the high. She'll start sailing again now. That's just while the centre of the high went over her. So she's only made 76 nautical miles in the last 24 hours. And Abilash has done the opposite, 138 nautical miles, doing 5.6 knots. So he's been closing the gap with Kirsten. And it's even shorter if we look at the run line distance. But we'll look at the weather first and see how it's likely to impact them going forward. So for Kirsten, very much the breeze is coming back. That's the first thing. So she'll start sailing, and it's pretty much a northeasterly that she's likely to get. So I would imagine she'll probably start sailing and go out on port tack, which will give her a northeasterly course. Abilash will hold that as long as the wind doesn't get too much stronger, because the sea will be building on that. It's disappearing in front of him, and then he's going to get a nice wind from behind. He's also all of a sudden transitioned into a southwesterly, which will be spinning us up, and it's not strong. It's probably only 15 knots there, so he'll like that. But Kirsten's not looking good at all. Not only has she got this northerly wind, she's got this little system. It's bigger than a squall, but it's a little system, a little low pressure system. That is now off to the side of her. This one here, they'll probably join up here. So that'll come through. Whatever's going to happen here, it's going to happen fast. She's got headwinds again, so it's going to be very hard for her to go anywhere of any substance. She may tack over on this one and start heading into the centre of this low pressure system rather. She'll work out the wind directions, and if she does that, she's going to get a bit of a kick behind. So you may well see her once this comes in, see her tack onto starboard and start heading back this way. Meanwhile, Abilash is closing the gap big time. So she's got some decisions to make, and it's fast moving. You can see that every one of those is an hour, and it's disappearing very quickly. And then she'd have to tack back. Look what's happening to Abilash. He's just got a real kick up the bum there. He'll be flying. He'll be doing 6.5 knots on that, and Kirsten's still struggling. But at this point, when it all starts to die down, if she was on port tack, starboard tack rather, she could then tack across when it's moderate enough and start heading back in a northerly quadrant, northerly direction. So this is now all of that's happened in the next 25th, 26th, just in a day and a half. So all of that wind interaction happened in a day and a half. So and then I think you'd see her. Yeah, she's definitely doing a northerly quadrant. She's got more favourable direction there. As soon as that goes over, so that's still a day and a half. She's now got a sou'wester, and they're both in the same system. But let's just look at where they'll be at that stage. So I would say, based on their current position, if you look at the run line distance here, not the separation. So run line distance, Abilash is currently about 410 miles behind Kirsten. Okay, that's in terms of both of them heading in the same direction. The difference is if I measure it across here, it's sort of like, oh, he's 580. But that doesn't count because that's not the run line. It's not where they both want to go. So it's about, say, 430. After that day and a half, I would say Abilash will easily get 75 miles on Kirsten. So that'll put him down to about 350 mile gap on the run line. And that's only less than 3 days sailing. So fun going on there. And I'll get rid of that, and we'll just do a quick toggle forward to see what the future holds. In fact, I'll go back to the bigger view here, so we can see how these systems are developing per se. I'm going to click on this one again. Okay, so this is just a big picture to see what's happening here, and it's all about this whole situation here, which is a low pressure system. All those fun little bits have joined together, and they're basically coming up with the basis of a low pressure system sitting here, and this is the South Atlantic high up the top. So it's a low underneath that, which is actually quite good because it'll keep them both heading north pretty quickly. Once that goes over, they've both got favourable wind direction. So anyway, you can see how that's established. So I'm going to pick it up a bit so we can see a bit closer. And I've got to hit this again. Okay, so it's going. So This is now past 2.5 days. We're on 2.5 days. There's a high pressure system, so they would say, so the Kirsten is now coming out into the influence of the bottom of that high pressure system above her. And the Abilash is getting a bit of a mixed bag there. There's a split trough going through the middle. So we're into day 3 now, and you can see this high here coming down to make the major influence. So because Abilash is back here, he's okay. He can reach across that. Kirsten can only come up so far, and then she's going to be hit again by the centre of that high as it's going across. Once she gets the other side of it, she's either going to go through the centre or get light headwinds again. So fun going forward, and I think that's pretty much all there is to talk about today. So we've done everything there. Yep, that's it. So we'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully I'll have my computer back up, and hopefully this is actually streaming. So thanks a lot. We'll see you tomorrow.